time with that. We have the same effect with the Septuagint in Greek. You know, it's written by 70 Hebrew-speaking scholars, and all 70 of them wrote the translation into Greek separately from each other, and then they were compared. So you can be reasonably certain that the Septuagint, the Greek version from 200 BC, is a valid copy and rendering into Greek, because you've got 70 scholars who all speak Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, and numerous other languages. These were the linguistic prodigies of the day. So we can have some confidence in it, because the Septuagint was never assaulted and attacked the way the Tanakh or the Old Testament was after Messiah's sacrifice and death, because some of the first things they started changing was the name Yehovah, and attaching vowels to the Yod-He Vav-He that would have a pronunciation as if it was a different word, Adonai. And Adon has been put into most English versions as capital L-O-R-D, and so then 3068 that's talking about Yehovah, Yod-He Vav-He. So these aren't new problems. We sort of think that the world is a little bit picking on us because we're sort of assaulted by so much of this. But there's nothing new. The Word of God has been under attack, so that His plan is lost, and nobody really knows or can claim to know what they're supposed to do or what they're supposed to be doing. But with a little bit of work, you can find it out. So the main point of the work of George Gordon was that he basically proved that the Hebrew Matthew is not a translation, but an original work written in Hebrew. And you get that from these word puns that they have in Hebrew, which makes the phrases work better and retain in your memory better, and the puns also make the point better. We have that too a little bit in English. But just so you understand that, the Hebrew Matthew has survived in 28 manuscripts. And one of the most important was preserved in the British Library, designated 26964. Now, in 2002, I joined the British Library and was interested in the Old Testament division portion of it. Was given access to it. I was looking for some transcripts at the time, and I really wasn't thoroughly aware of the importance of the Hebrew Matthew text, so I wasn't able or didn't try to get a copy of it. And I was more interested in other things. I was principally interested in Ephesians, whereby Jesus Christ is added to Greek and things like that in a different ink, as much as the ancient Hebrew. But anyway, one of the most intriguing things about the reproduction is that it contains the original form of Jesus of Nazareth's Hebrew name. So, what do you think it was? Now, we covered that with Keith Johnson's work to a degree, but Yeshua, not Yehoshua. Now, the reproduction contains the scene in the Gospel in which Yeshua was given his name. In this context, nothing but the original form of his name would have sufficed. According to Hebrew Matthew, an angel appeared to Joseph and told him, "And she shall give birth to a son, and you shall call his name Yeshua, for he will Josiah my people from their iniquities." So you can see, if you were reading that in Hebrew, you've got Yeshua and Josiah running in the same line in the same sentence, which gives a very different wording and emphasis on what it is that's being expressed here. So you've got Yeshua and Josiah. The angel statement employs a word pun, connects the name Yeshua with Josiah, meaning, and Josiah means he will save. So Yeshua will save. Had the name Yeshua been replaced with a substitute in the Hebrew, the word pun would have been lost just as it is lost in English and the Greek and Aramaic and everybody else. Yet we haven't had Hebrew for close to 2,000 years. The language is close to being lost. It's been reconstructed with a different different wording and that type of thing, or different alphabet in any event, or printing values, because the ancient Hebrew isn't used the way modern Chinese is, where the hundreds of millions of Chinese, or billion, all can read or write from the same script or pictographic script, even though they pronounce their words so greatly differently that they have different dialects and virtually different languages, and they all read and write the same script. And but anyway, the original Hebrew is being more and more studied and used in Word. We have an individual at the presently in Sweden at the university, but in Finland, Thomas McIlwain, a linguistic prodigy, who's mostly in Iroquois, India, Mingo, who has been reading Hebrew, ancient as well as modern, for close to 50 years now. So he understood that from the pronunciations in these ancient texts that the name of the Almighty should be pronounced Yehovah, not Yahweh or some other Yah format. Although you see these names in Hebrew can be shortened. We would call the shortening a nickname, which probably is incorrect here, but there's nothing wrong with the shortening from Yehoshua to Yeshua to Yeshu. So the full form of the name Yeshua appears twice in the passage. Firstly, when the angel speaks to Joseph in Matthew 1, verse 21, and secondly, when Joseph gives Yeshua his name. You get that in Matthew 1, verse 25. So this name Yeshua is a variant of Josiah or Yehoshua in Hebrew. It's a well-known Israelite leader, Yehoshua, son of Nun, also known as Yeshua, not Yehoshua. In the early Second Temple period, the high priest Yehoshua, son of Jehozadak, was also sometimes called Yeshua. You see that in Nehemiah 8:17. Most Hebrew names are made up of a number of smaller words which together form a short Hebrew sentence. The name Yeshua is formed from two Hebrew words, Yehovah and Hosea, meaning Jehovah saves. Hosea, is an interesting, he's calling it a pun on the word, but you have to run the words together to understand the point, which of course we don't have in the English or the Greek or any other languages. So two manuscripts of these primitive texts going back over 1,000 years preserve Yeshua's Hebrew name as Yehoshua. So it was used in both ways. So there's nothing wrong in pronouncing Yehoshua as Yeshua. The rest of Hebrew Matthew has a shortened form of his name, which is Yeshu. Today it is commonly believed that the rabbis invented the form Yeshu to replace the name Yeshua. Many Jews erroneously think Yeshu is an acronym for the Hebrew words Yamach Shemo Vetziro, may his name and memory be blotted out. And you'll see that blotting out and boiling alive of Messiah is repeated, I think, 5 times in the Tanakh, in the Talmud, the Gemara portion of the Talmud, not in the Mishnah. So that's what they thought of him. The terminology for virgin was tried to be modified to mean young woman, and not a virgin will be with child. So it's